Captain Ibrahim Traoré just landed in Russia. He is in Moscow to participate in the May 9th Victory Day celebrations, a highly symbolic event commemorating Russia's victory in World War II. This visit underscores a growing relationship between Burkina Faso and Russia, reflecting Traoré's efforts to diversify his nation's international partnerships.
Boom. In one of the most unexpected and symbolic moves of 2025, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the revolutionary leader of Burkina Faso, has just touched down in Moscow aboard none other than Vladimir Putin's VIP presidential jet. You heard that right.
Captain Ibrahim Traoré just landed in Russia. Beyond the celebrations, the visit serves as an opportunity for discussions on potential economic and security cooperation, areas of critical importance to Burkina Faso as it navigates regional instability and seeks new alliances. This is uplifting Africa.
On May 9th, Russia's Victory Day, a day steeped in military pride and historical weight, Traoré didn't just show up. He arrived like a king, stepping off Putin's Ilyushin 96 under heavy Kremlin escort, as stunned onlookers, media outlets, and global analysts watched in disbelief. This is not just about a flight. This is about alliances being forged in plain sight, under the cold Moscow sky. It's about post-colonial defiance meeting Eastern power, about an African revolutionary leader aligning himself with one of the most divisive geopolitical giants of the 21st century. What does this signal to France, the EU, and the West at large? Is this a new axis of resistance, a power realignment, or a massive propaganda play between two controversial figures? Today, we dig deep into why Traoré's arrival on Putin's jet matters, what it reveals about the future of Russian-African relations, and why May 9th, 2025 might go down as one of the most audacious diplomatic stunts in modern history. The arrival, a statement in steel and sky. On May 8, 2025, Moscow bore witness to a diplomatic spectacle that drew global attention and underscored the evolving dynamics of international relations. Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the interim president of Burkina Faso, arrived in the Russian capital aboard a Russian presidential Ilyushin Il-96-300 jet, an aircraft typically reserved for President Vladimir Putin. Bearing the registration number RA-96019, the use of this aircraft marked an extraordinary diplomatic gesture by Russia, highlighting the significance it places on its relationship with Burkina Faso.
Please watch the rest of the video. Feel free to drop your opinion in the comment section. If this is your first time coming across our YouTube channel, please don't forget to subscribe. Turn on the bell button so that you always get notified of all latest news. If you've been our regular subscriber, thank you for watching and continue and for your continual support in this channel. God bless you all.
Oui. Nous, vers nos voitures, ainsi que le président. Donc on va là. Si vous voulez, on va d'abord ramener le président.
The symbolism did not end there. Traoré's plane was escorted by Russian fighter jets in a striking display of military precision and ceremonial respect. This kind of escort is usually reserved for high-profile state visits and is rarely extended to foreign leaders, particularly those from smaller or less globally influential nations. The escort served as a powerful visual representation of the importance Russia attributes to its partnership with Burkina Faso. Upon landing, Traoré was welcomed with full honors. A red carpet reception, an honor guard, and a welcoming delegation of senior Russian officials. The message was clear: Burkina Faso is being treated not merely as a guest, but as a strategic partner in Russia's broader effort to build alliances beyond its traditional orbit of influence. Captain Ibrahim Traoré's visit to Russia held significant geopolitical weight, amplified by its timing on the eve of Russia's Victory Day, marking the 80th anniversary of the Soviet Union's triumph over Nazi Germany. His presence at such a historically symbolic event conveyed more than diplomatic formality. It underscored a shared reverence for resilience and sovereignty. For Russia, the visit demonstrated its aim to deepen ties with nations seeking independent paths outside of traditional Western alliances. For Burkina Faso, it was an affirmation of its intent to pursue a multipolar foreign policy, engaging with global powers on equal terms. Traoré's arrival in such grand fashion reflected both symbolism and strategy. It sent a clear message that Burkina Faso is no longer content with passive roles in global diplomacy. Under Traoré's leadership, the country is embracing new partnerships that align with its vision for national dignity and international agency. This visit highlighted Burkina Faso's evolving foreign policy, one rooted in mutual respect, non-alignment, and the pursuit of strategic autonomy. As it shifts away from its colonial legacy, Burkina Faso is positioning itself as a sovereign actor capable of shaping its own future through diverse and pragmatic international relationships.
It's about what it means back home. It means their president isn't hiding. He's not compromised. He's not afraid to stand alone on the world stage. And he is, without a doubt, being watched. Watched by African youth who feel betrayed by politicians in suits who smile for the IMF while schools crumble and hospitals collapse. Watched by elders who remember what real leaders look like. Watched by the world, which can no longer ignore the rise of the Sahel.
Traoré's Moscow mission, beyond ceremonial gestures. While the ceremonial aspects of Captain Ibrahim Traoré's visit to Moscow were prominently featured, most notably his participation in Russia's 80th Victory Day celebrations, the underlying agenda was firmly grounded in substantive geopolitical strategy. Under Traoré's leadership, Burkina Faso has been navigating a shifting political landscape, aiming to diversify its international partnerships and reduce reliance on traditional Western allies. This strategic recalibration is driven by urgent national priorities. Burkina Faso continues to grapple with significant security threats, particularly from extremist groups entrenched in the Sahel region. The need for effective military cooperation has become critical. Russia, increasingly active in Africa, offers an alternative source of military support and strategic partnership that aligns with Burkina Faso's pursuit of sovereignty and security. During his visit to Russia, Captain Ibrahim Traoré engaged in high-level discussions with top Russian officials, with a primary focus on strengthening bilateral relations, particularly in the critical areas of defense and security. Although no formal agreements were made public, both nations underscored a mutual commitment to combating terrorism and promoting regional stability. These talks reflected a shared understanding of the shifting security landscape in West Africa and a desire to forge deeper cooperation in addressing common threats. For Burkina Faso, this alignment signals a strategic pivot towards new security partnerships that can offer more tailored and responsive support than traditional Western alliances. Beyond defense, the visit also signaled growing interest in expanding economic ties. Burkina Faso's abundance of natural resources, most notably gold and other key minerals, has captured the attention of Russian investors eager to broaden their reach into emerging markets. In turn, Burkina Faso stands to benefit from Russian expertise in sectors such as mining, infrastructure development, and technical support. These capabilities are vital for the country's broader goals of industrialization and economic self-sufficiency. The visit thus laid a foundation for a partnership that extends beyond short-term interests, aiming instead at long-term cooperation rooted in mutual benefit, economic opportunity, and a shared vision of development that respects national sovereignty and strategic independence.
Took off, not for Beijing or Berlin, but for Ouagadougou, the capital of Burkina Faso. Its mission, to pick up Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the young and defiant leader of Burkina Faso, and bring him to Moscow as a special guest of President Vladimir Putin. This moment, seemingly small in the chaos of global headlines, carried immense weight for Africa. It represented the repositioning of a continent that has long been a passive player in global politics, now stepping into a role of agency, strategy, and strength. Captain Traoré, representing not just Burkina Faso, but the broader AES bloc, the alliance of Sahel states, is being recognized not for compliance, but for courage. His presence at Victory Day isn't a show of submission. It's a declaration. Africa is no longer on the sidelines. The AES, consisting of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, was formed as a response to shared challenges: terrorism, economic instability, and Western interference.
Traoré's presence at Russia's national celebration served another purpose: elevating Burkina Faso's profile on the global stage. Aligning with a major geopolitical player like Russia during a high-visibility event was a symbolic yet strategic gesture, signaling a deliberate move toward a multipolar world order where alliances are shaped by pragmatic interests rather than colonial-era affiliations. This pivot mirrors a broader trend sweeping across the African continent. As more nations seek to assert greater autonomy in their foreign policies, engaging with non-Western powers becomes a viable and increasingly attractive option. For Burkina Faso, Traoré's visit marks a bold step toward crafting a self-determined and strategically balanced international path. Victory Day 2025, a stage for global realignment. The 80th anniversary of Russia's Victory Day was far more than a solemn remembrance of the Soviet Union's triumph in World War II. It became a high-profile platform for modern geopolitical signaling. With 29 world leaders in attendance, including influential figures such as China's President Xi Jinping and Brazil's Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, the event underscored Russia's ambition to position itself as a central force in an increasingly multipolar world order. Among the most symbolic attendees were a number of African leaders, including Captain Ibrahim Traoré, interim president of Burkina Faso. Their presence spoke volumes about Africa's rising profile in global affairs and a collective effort by these nations to recalibrate their international partnerships. By taking part in such a strategically significant event, these leaders sent a clear message. Africa is no longer content with being a peripheral player in a Western-dominated global framework. Instead, it is actively exploring alternative alliances that emphasize mutual respect, sovereignty, and tangible cooperation. The Victory Day Military Parade, a grand spectacle featuring troops from 13 countries, offered more than ceremonial flair. It served as a calculated demonstration of resilience and power. Russia's assertion that it remains a formidable actor despite international sanctions and diplomatic isolation. For the invited nations, the event presented not only a show of solidarity, but also a unique opportunity to explore deeper political, military, and economic collaboration with Moscow. In this context, Captain Traoré's participation stood out as particularly strategic. His presence signaled Burkina Faso's intent to diversify its foreign relations and embrace a more autonomous approach to international diplomacy. It was a move that resonated with the country's broader pivot toward non-Western partners, especially those willing to engage on equal footing and support national development without conditions tied to old colonial frameworks.
On May 9, 2025, a significant event unfolded in Moscow. World leaders gathered to commemorate the 80th anniversary of the victory over Nazi Germany. Among them was Ibrahim Traoré, the president of Burkina Faso. His presence marked a turning point in the relationship between Burkina Faso and Russia. This visit followed a series of diplomatic engagements between the two nations. In April 2025, Burkina Faso's foreign minister, Karamoko Jean-Marie Traoré, traveled to Moscow. The purpose was clear: to strengthen ties with Russia. This visit was not in isolation. It was part of a larger delegation from the Confederation of Sahel States, also known as AES. The AES includes Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. These Sahel nations, all under military juntas, are facing a common enemy: jihadist insurgency. The visit to Moscow signaled a shift in their approach to this conflict. They were looking beyond their traditional allies for support.
The Victory Day celebrations thus served as both a mirror and a mechanism of global change. They reflected the shifting landscape of international relations, where emerging alliances challenge established power structures, and countries like Burkina Faso assert newfound confidence on the world stage. As global dynamics continue to evolve, such events will only grow in importance as arenas where symbolic gestures intersect with strategic imperatives. The road ahead, implications for Burkina Faso and beyond. Captain Ibrahim Traoré's recent visit to Moscow marks a pivotal milestone in Burkina Faso's evolving foreign policy. By directly engaging with Russia, the interim president is signaling a deliberate and strategic shift, one that emphasizes the need to diversify international partnerships and reduce dependency on traditional Western alliances. This move reflects a pragmatic response to a rapidly transforming global order where flexibility, autonomy, and diversified diplomacy are becoming essential for national resilience. Like many African countries, Burkina Faso faces a complex array of challenges, including persistent security threats, inadequate infrastructure, and economic underdevelopment. In this context, forging new alliances, particularly with rising global powers such as Russia, can unlock access to critical resources, technical expertise, and political backing. Unlike some Western partnerships, which are often conditional and shaped by donor-driven priorities, these emerging relationships may offer more room for mutual respect and sovereignty-based cooperation. Traoré's outreach to Moscow underscores a growing assertiveness in Burkina Faso's foreign policy. His leadership demonstrates a clear intent to pursue partnerships that align more closely with the country's specific needs and aspirations. This realignment may well inspire other African nations that are re-examining their place in the global system and seeking to exercise greater agency in shaping their foreign relations. However, this diplomatic pivot is not without its challenges. Navigating new alliances requires careful negotiation, strategic foresight, and a commitment to transparency. Long-term agreements, especially those involving military assistance, economic investments, or infrastructure development, must be evaluated through the lens of national interest and long-term sustainability. Moreover, Burkina Faso must delicately manage the potential diplomatic consequences of distancing itself from traditional allies, many of whom may interpret this shift with skepticism or concern. Despite these complexities, the visit to Moscow represents a bold and calculated step toward redefining Burkina Faso's role in the international arena. By adopting a multipolar approach, the country is positioning itself as a more adaptable and self-reliant actor on the world stage. In the years to come, the impact of this foreign policy evolution could extend beyond national borders, contributing to a broader continental movement toward more balanced, sovereign, and strategically independent African diplomacy. As Ibrahim Traoré stood tall beside Russian military elites, amid tanks, flyovers, and stoic tributes to World War II, the message couldn't have been clearer. He's not just a guest, he's a partner to Putin, to Moscow's growing ambitions in Africa, and to a multipolar world that's rapidly rejecting Western dominance. And that VIP jet? It wasn't just transport, it was a symbol, a message, a power move. Whether this alliance is built on mutual strength or strategic convenience, one thing is certain: Traoré didn't just arrive in Moscow, he arrived on the world stage, and the world is now watching. Will this ignite a new wave of African assertiveness? Will the West retaliate or recalibrate? Or is this the dawn of a new Russia-Africa era that can't be ignored? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Is this brilliance or bluff? Diplomacy or theater? Smash that like button if you're following these world shifts closely, and don't forget to subscribe, because this isn't just politics anymore. It's history in real time.